This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
Bros and hoes and heroes. Gonna tell you about bros and hoes and heroes. Gonna tell you about comic books, costumes, facts,
Boots!
and other stuff.
In this week's issue, High School Love Affair, presented by Gillette.
Welcome into Bros, Foes, and Heroes. I'm Zach, joined as always by Man Wonder himself, Mr. Mike.
You know, when you say welcome in, I always want to say, well, thank you. Or something. You know, I always want to respond.
I just don't know how else to.
No, it's great.
Like, I feel like we're auditorily welcoming in our listeners into the podcast.
No, it's great. I think it's just my Southern upbringing where I would just want to go, well, thank you, you know, and hold the door for you or whatever.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
So welcome in. You know
Welcome.
us. I've introduced us.
Yeah.
It's the same to us as always.
That's right.
This is the last episode of 2022, Mike.
It is. Yeah. 2023 is going to be so much better.
We always say that, though. Every year is always going to be so much better than the year before.
I feel like 2023 is going to be the year that we all lose our jobs and the robots take over.
Whoa, so quickly.
Yep, I think so. Look at the AI explosion. How fast has that been?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's everywhere all of a sudden.
That's true.
And maybe it's just the crap that I follow on my phone, but every time I turn around, somebody's telling me a story of robots taking the jobs.
Mike, I'm easily persuaded. I got to quit. Yeah.
Get that tinfoil, man. Let's go.
All right. I think I saw some on the way in.
You probably did here.
So, not gonna. I had somebody ask me the other day. They go, "So do you got any New Year's resolutions?" Yeah, and I was like, "Well, I usually don't do that." And they're like, "Oh, why?" And I said, and I didn't mean this in a mean way, but I was like, I like to think that if I decide I wanted to do something, even if it was in September, I would be able to just decide to do it.
That's what I'm saying, man.
I get no. I'm not like trying to put the
Kibosh.
cross, on.
Love that word.
I almost said, is it
kibosh
or is it kibosh?
It's both.
Okay. But on anybody doing that, like I understand how it works with some people, like, start with the first year, get on track. I get that.
Sure.
But just for me and mine, so that's what I told them. And they were just kind of like, oh,
Well, the people that are super excited about the coming week, or the week that we're in, is gyms. They get so many signups this week, right? Because everybody's going to, this is going to be the year, right?
Yeah. So I don't know if we talked about it a bit. It's just funny because it relates to a conversation I've had outside of here is back in kind of November or so, started working out some. And then just this past week, and so with holidays and everything, haven't been able to.
Right, sure.
But, we're talking about, we got to get back and, get back into things and start going again. And so we're trying to figure out, and we've thought about, trying to find the times because for that instance, it's going to be packed.
And you're trying to go as a couple?
We have a kind of like a workout group.
Yeah. Oh, really?
I don't want it to sound like it's the Sharks and the Jets. Yeah. We all show up in tank tops and we're like, we're here to lift weights.
Yeah. Get out of our way.
No, but I found out, and
we're here to lift weights. That's the worst musical ever.
Yeah. And it's just dudes just lifting weights the whole time.
To the rhythm.
Yeah, grunts to the rhythm. Yeah. No words. That's it. No. I found that it actually, kind of worked.
Wow, you know what? That would make a good musical, though. You just call it grunt. Instead of rent, it's just grunt. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just making a point.
It kept you accountable.
Yeah, it kept me accountable. And so it's a couple of us guys that would go and,
Yeah. Sure. No, I agree.
My wife would come with me some too. And, but it wasn't like there's like a group of us.
Sure. I absolutely agree with what you're saying as far as people need things to keep them accountable.
Yeah.
March is the month that people stop going. So generally they sign up in the end of December, first part of January.
And stay till March.
And then by March, they're gone.
So I got 3 months.
You got 3 months, man. Yeah. And then just think the whole place will be to you.
Oh, I mean, that's true.
There's nobody around.
If I can deal with the next 3 months, the next 9.
You don't have to wipe off a seat.
Well,
Nothing.
I mean, you kind of do just to be nice.
Isn't that the grossest thing, though? Like, you have to wipe off the seat after somebody gets off of it?
Oh, no. You wipe off the seat after you get off of it.
No. Oh, yeah. Well, people don't do that, though.
Well, I mean, where I go, they do.
They do?
Yeah.
Oh, I went to the wrong place.
Yeah, I think you did.
We were mostly squatting on logs and things, so I don't know. Maybe that wasn't.
No logs.
No logs?
No logs.
Holy crap.
It's all indoors.
Gyms have really changed.
They have central heat and air now.
Oh, my God.
They have bathrooms inside.
Do they have that guy?
I mean, there's
the guy that hits you with a stick if you don't do it right?
Oh, no.
Oh, they don't?
No.
Oh, damn it.
That guy's not there. There is a guy, if you have to bring him yourself, but he'll yell at you when you do
My
stuff.
problem was they're so expensive. I mean, this was $1,000 a month to go and squat on a log and have a guy hit you with a stick.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Where'd you have these classes at?
It was Outback.
Steakhouse?
Yeah, no rules, just right. Yeah, it was great.
You stood outside of this log, outside of an Outback Steakhouse, while some man beat you.
Yeah, he's like, don't smell. Don't smell. Those smells are not for you. Yeah.
He would hold like a bloomin' onion in front of you just to tempt you?
Just part of it. He would sit there and eat it. This is so good. Don't smell it. He was Australian.
You kind of reminded me of like a Mick Jagger there for some reason for a little bit. Oh, man. All right.
Yeah.
So I figured
we would... foolishness. Let's get down to business.
Yeah, well, here's the thing is we're not getting any more serious throughout the rest of the episode because I figured we would close out since we all think that next year will be better. Just in case it's not, let's just have a fun episode to enjoy the end of 2022 with. And we did some of these before.
You know what we do have going for us in 2023?
Oh, yes.
No election.
Oh, that's true.
There's no election until 24. So
we're good.
What I'm saying is we're going to have them run the entire year and tell us why they're so great.
Okay.
Then 24 hits, and then we have
to vote for them.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to promote something coming up next year.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Whoa. Well, I guess I can.
I don't know.
RoadCon 23.
Boom, there you go.
January 20th through the 22nd. Downtown Waco.
I didn't mean to catch you off guard.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's the radio guy and you coming back.
It is a little bit.
Yeah.
You got to plug when you can.
That's right. You got to plug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We used to have.
That's what this guy outside the Outback used to say too. You got to plug when you can. And I didn't know what he meant. Yeah.
Oh, I'm thinking what I'm thinking.
It was weird.
We used to have little line all over the place. There was just like little printed out lines of stuff because everything was sponsored by this, and it's just a reminder of you got taglines for everything.
So was there any sort of like regimented thing like you have to mention this and this, or was it just like it's just around, so just mention it whenever you can? It was just
around on a lot of it because it was just make sure if you mention it to bring that up.
Right.
Like if somebody calls in on the hotline, it's the such and such hotline. Make sure to maybe mention so it'd be like,
I've always wanted a hotline.
Right. So people would call in and it'd be like, hey, we'll go to the clean T-shirts hotline. Don't forget their T-shirts are always clean. Hey, Keith, what's on, something like that.
Right, sure.
Or then it would be like, and I'm just using these as examples, not necessarily, but you could have like
Golden Chick dump of the day or whatever. Sure. Yeah.
Or obviously,
no offense, Golden Chick.
Yeah, updates.
You make me sick every time I eat there.
I love Golden Chick.
It really makes me sick.
Okay. Well, half of us love Golden Chick.
Golden Chick half dump of the day.
Do you think that a restaurant or a place of business would ever be like, all right, you're our spokesperson, you're not?
And split up like duo.
Yeah, it's like we would do ads.
You don't say a thing.
Yeah, and I'd be like, hey, everybody, go to Burger King. Burger King's great. And you're just like, Burger King's the worst. And
I'm just over here just
can't say anything.
Yeah.
No disrespect to Burger King.
No disrespect to Burger King. They make a fine Whopper.
Yep. Today's show brought to you by neither Burger King nor Golden Chick. So,
what's Golden Chick doing making fish?
You say
Why
that?
are they making fish?
You say that this might hurt your feelings. I don't think it will.
I won't.
Their catfish is actually pretty good.
Is it really?
Yeah, I like it. I like catfish though. But
they built a new Golden Chick out by my house.
Yeah.
I went there the week it opened. And got food poisoning.
Well, that's because you went the week it opened.
That ought to be their best week.
No. That's any place.
Ought to be their best week.
No. I think that's any place. I think you give it some time to get the kinks out. Nothing ever starts out perfect.
No. It's fried chicken. I can get that anywhere.
Okay, well then why didn't you go somewhere else to get it?
I do
Give
now.
them a couple weeks.
Now I go to Brooks Brothers and get my chicken there and my shirts.
Have you?
I don't know. I was thinking the place in Lorena, that grocery store. Brookshire's. I was thinking Brookshire's and said Brooks Brothers. Brooks Brothers is a whole different thing. They remove trees.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't think you're eating at a place.
You ever get the chicken at a grocery store though?
Yeah,
like the fried chicken at a grocery store. It always tastes like rubber.
Okay, did you?
Like it's got this black taste to it.
I guess let me go ahead and tease just so you know if you want to know what's coming up because we're about to. No, we're about to take a little dive out to left field before we get to it. But we did it once before with romance comics, and so I thought I would do some more today, and that's what we'll get into. But you bring up the grocery store chicken.
Yes,
I remember still vividly, like my mom would take us grocery shopping we would always go Saturday mornings.
Right.
Okay. And it was usually around 10, 11, and we would be hungry.
Sure.
And she would go to the back and she would get, like at Walmart, and get a thing of chicken for us. And we would eat it while she went around and shopped.
Oh my God. You had like chicken bones in your
well, it was like chicken tenders, or you put it back in the bag and stuff. And then when we got to the end,
suck off that bone and put it back in the bag.
She would put the bag on there so they could scan it, pay for it, and she'd throw the trash away on our way out.
Yeah. That's all right. Hey, whatever gets you there. I mean, that's, Did you enjoy the chicken?
Lunch.
Did you enjoy the chicken?
I mean, it was food. They weren't too bad.
That is not a way to answer that question.
They had chicken tenders and potato wedges that are actually pretty good.
Potato wedges are a fine invention by man.
There's some gas stations that have decent chicken tenders and potato
wedges.
wedges.
There used to be one here, and I went in there the other day thinking, I don't want to drive through any of these restaurants. I want that corn dog they make in some of those potato wedges. They don't do it anymore.
No, I think I know which one you're talking
about.
too.
It's all in the bags and stuff now, pre-prepared crap. I was like, oh my, it really.
They used to have a little.
Made me so sad. They had an actual little cooking stuff in there. Somebody manning the thing. Yeah,
the one over by the golf course.
Yep,
that's the one because the radio station.
Yep.
So that's the one we always went to.
Yes. They had those giant fat corn dogs.
Yes. Oh, I got those plenty of times.
Ooh, they were
and their chicken tenders were on point.
Yep. But their potato wedges were something else.
Oh, yes.
No more. Yeah.
Dude, I think I even got like a chicken fried steak sandwich there
once. Oh, I'm sure
really
you did.
Good.
Yeah. They had a full-fledged thing going on.
It's gone?
Yeah. Now, instead of being that thing where they step behind it, it's just like a warming lamp there. Yeah. Serve yourself, buddy.
Oh, that crap.
It's like that crap at Walmart, up by the self-serve where they have the hot food that sits there all day long.
Yeah.
And for some reason, they have shrimp bites. Just sit out.
Never eat fish that's under a heating lamp.
Oh my God. Well, this is even worse. It's shellfish.
Also, like I usually don't even like eating seafood if I'm not somewhere near a body of water that it could have came from.
Absolutely.
So like I'll
now there is one place here I'll
I'll go there. But like what I get isn't even like it's not a lot of seafoody kind of. There's a little bit, but if like we went down to the coast for vacation or something,
that's a whole different
thing. I eat
thing.
there, or so that makes sense.
But the thing is, they probably don't even get their stuff from the coast.
What I don't get is that we are obviously at least 4.5 hours from any coast, or the closest coast.
Sure.
How can somebody near me on the side of the road be selling fresh seafood?
No,
that's all I want to know.
No, they can't.
Out of the back of their car. And steaks, too.
No, that's a poodle.
All right, let's go ahead and get into some romance comics, Mike. And I have
this foolishness again.
Some very great ones. I have accrued. Is that right? Accrued for us?
Acquired?
Accrued?
Accrued.
Is that? I don't know. I've gathered
Brought
them
to
for
you
us.
by Johnson's Accruiting. Go there for a job.
Our first story that we're going to get to is from a comic called Confidential Diary number 14.
Ooh.
That was printed back in September of 1962.
Oh, boy.
By Charlton Comics.
Charlton.
Pencils are...
They make a fine chew.
Pencils are attributed to Dick Giordano. Ink is Vince Coletta.
Okay.
Actually, decently known.
Those are real people? Yeah. Okay. Great.
Our first story is called...
Always afraid they're
Foolish Vengeance.
Yeah. Okay.
Our main character is the very pretty, very beautifully drawn Miss Faye Campbell. Okay. Now, Faye is called on in class by her teacher, whose name is Mr. Paulson.
Is this high school?
This is high school.
Oh.
So Mr. Paulson asks her very simply, can you please give me the past perfect? This is, because let me take you back to high school English.
Yes.
You remember being asked these questions.
Yes.
Would you please give me the past perfect first person singular of the form take two? See what I mean? Would you please give me the past perfect first person singular of the verb to go?
I don't even understand.
To which she just kind of plays coy and she goes, golly, Mr. Paulson, I'm afraid it just slipped my mind kind of thing, right?
Twirling her hair the whole time, chewing gum. Yeah.
And all the other girls are kind of like, she know if she didn't go out on town all over town at night. Well, Mr. Paulson is not happy about this.
Do we find out what it is?
No, they don't answer the question.
I just want to know what the answer to the question is.
No, they never answer the question. But he says, hey, I would like a moment with you after class. So everybody leaves and she stays behind. And he's like, you really? No, none of that.
Damn it.
You forget how sexist these romance comics are, remember?
Sure.
So it's definitely all the...
I love how the American flag is like in every shot.
It is. So Mr. Paulson meets with Faye, and he basically tells Faye that, you need to kind of pay more attention. Like you're not...
He says, you're pretty. You'll never need English.
Yeah, he goes, I've been very patient with you basically all term, but if you don't show more interest in the subject, then I'm going to have no choice basically but to fail you. And she's like, oh, I'm trying. I can't. I promise I'll do better. And he's like, okay, I'll give you one more chance then. So she leaves and she's like, thanks, Mr. Paulson. And as she leaves, she's like, I got him roped around my finger. Like because she... Oh, where is it at? She catches him off guard while she's like, but with your help, Mr. Paulson. And it even shows a panel of her kind of like leaning over and him staring at her chest.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, my Lord.
It is, isn't it? So she's seducing him.
This is at best maybe 18-year-old, right?
At best, yes.
At best, she's turned 18 and she's a senior.
Yes.
And he is probably,
we'll say
late 30s.
No, well, I think even though they're drawn like this, because there's another guy that comes up later that looks like this age-wise, and he's supposed to be 24.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to say, even though he doesn't look like it, he's mid-20s,
okay,
probably.
So he's a new teacher. He's closer in age.
We'll just say that. And so, think. It's not
as creepy.
It's not as weird. The age gap's not weird. I think it's the fact that it's the student-teacher relationship kind of thing here. Sure. But
plus all under the watchful eyes of the American flag.
Oh, that's true. Good old glory. So, that sounded very... I didn't mean for it to sound like that.
Oh, God bless the flag.
But she tells her friend that, hey, I don't have to worry about anything. I've got Mr. Paulson, wrapped around my finger.
Why didn't she just give him the answer?
I don't know.
Why did she give a shit?
So she decides to go out for the night. Like, I'm not going to study. I'm going to go out instead.
Yeah.
So the next day, Mr. Paulson obviously decided to call on her again because she was supposed to work on it. And she was kind of taken by surprise. He asked her what a synonym was. And she goes, a synonym is a word that's spelled the same as another. But, and he's like, all right, Miss Campbell, I need to talk to you after class again.
Yeah.
So this time after class, he tells her like, hey, I gave you a chance. Mm-hmm. You obviously didn't listen.
He did.
I'm going to have to talk to, I'm trying to find the principal's name, Mr. Howard.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to call him.
Sure.
Yeah, Mr. Howard.
Mr. Howard.
And so she's like, you can't do this. You can't tell the principal. And he's basically like, I'm sorry, I have no choice. Because, I guess that.
He can tell the principal. I mean.
Exactly. He goes, Faye, I'm afraid this will be, oh, I forgot. They messed up on this. They left in their mistake. So the line says, Faye, I'm afraid this will have to be a final warning. If you don't buckle down, I'm going to take up the matter with Professor Howard.
That even looks weird, like the way it's in the speech bubbles.
Yes.
Huh.
But you see where it says
weird.
be, have to be?
Yeah. Huh.
And so that's where Faye's like, no, you can't do, like, what do you mean take it up with the principal?
Yeah.
And he's like, you've given me no other choice. And she's like, you better not do that.
Yeah.
Like, she's threatening him. She's like, or you'll be sorry.
Whoa.
And he's like, that'll be all, Miss Campbell, and kind of like sends him out.
Oh, this is the vengeance.
So she decides, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get him in trouble. I'm going to spread rumors around school that we've been in a relationship together.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Yeah.
So
that is vengeful.
Yeah, she goes, I lost little time in planting the seed of gossip, and the fruit it bore frightened even me. I don't know why I feel like I need to read the romance stuff like this, but I do. Within a few days, the love affair between Mr. Paulson and myself was the talk of the school.
Oh. Well, and that's fair,
right?
Because if somebody did that
right.
was always a thing with students. Leave the door open, side hug,
and then
all of that
one
stuff.
afternoon she gets home, and her dad's home early from work.
Uh-oh.
And she's like, what's up? And he's like, sit down, young lady. We need to talk to you about what we've been hearing about you and this teacher.
Wow.
Right? And
they've heard about it down at the insurance agency.
I started to cry under Dad's barrage of questions. But
She knows the word barrage, but she doesn't know what a synonym is. Okay.
But I neither confirmed nor denied the rumor about Mr. Paulson. Why not?
Why wouldn't you confirm it to your father?
Exactly. Why not be like, okay, Dad, this has gotten out of hand.
Oh, Dad,
like, especially to your dad.
Yeah, I mean, blame it on somebody else. Whatever. Yeah. Just say it's a rumor.
And he goes, he grew angrier by the minute and decided to have a showdown at the school.
Uh-oh.
Not with guns or anything like that. It's not like a fight.
Wasn't that time
like
yet.
Yeah. So he shows up and he talks to Mr. Howard.
AR-15s had not been invented yet. Sorry, that was a little dark. I'm sorry.
A little bit. So, Mr. Howard says, and I did not expect a joke like that in the romance
I'm so sorry.
comics.
Yeah, so sorry.
So, I'm just saying, out of everything we cover.
Yeah. Went from chicken tenders to AR-15.
Yeah. We're all over the place.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Howard, the principal, basically tells Mr. Paulson, if any of this is true, like, this is your career as a teacher. You're finished.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he says, he's like, sir, I'm telling you that nothing has happened, that it's a lie, like, it's just a rumor. I haven't. And then Mr. Howard says, and you, young lady, and turns to Faye and says, are subject to immediate expulsion.
Ooh. From the side there, it looks like the principal has a Hitler mustache.
It kind of does, but he doesn't.
And then they show him in the front, and
he
now
has
he
a regular
looks
mustache.
like J. Jameson.
J. Jameson.
J. Jameson. Yeah, it's the one made by Charleston. It's not the Marvel one.
J. Jameson Scott whiskey. And I said Scott.
Scott whiskey. Love his stuff.
Oh, man. So, Mr. Howard's rough tactics forced the truth from my lips. Him just saying that she was going to be immediately expelled is what caused, not her father
not
actually
her father,
being
not the right thing to do.
And so she says, all right, I'll tell the truth, even if it means getting expelled. I invented the story about Mr. Paulson and me to get even with him for cracking down on me. He did nothing wrong at any time. He was just doing his job. And then her mom's like, Faye, how could you? And Faye says, I realized what a terrible thing I've done, Mother, and I'm ready to accept my punishment.
Yeah.
Then it says, Mr. Howard explained why I couldn't continue at his school, and I understood. What?
Just all of a sudden. Yeah. Now I get it.
You spread rumors. You can't go to school here.
I get it now. Okay, you're going to have to give me 1 second here. The paranoia has set in that I didn't hit the button. Okay?
Okay.
Give me a second.
So I will talk while Mike.
Good. Yeah, we're all good.
Right in the middle of. All right.
I'm so sorry. It hits when it hits. Heart wants what the heart wants, you know?
I was just in the middle of the last.
I'm so sorry.
It's the last panel of the comic.
Go, man, go. She's learned her ways.
Yeah, found out why she couldn't go there anymore.
Yep.
We moved to the other side of the city where I could make a fresh start at a different school.
What?
Even though my new classmates were unaware of my shame, I knew it would take time for the memory of my vicious vengeance to pass. The end.
So this is the whole story.
That's the whole
She made I was really expecting something to happen here.
Nope.
She made up a rumor.
Yep.
Her dad heard about it down at the meat market.
Yeah.
He confronted her.
She lied to him.
She lied to him. They went to the school. You're going to be expelled. Oh, my God. We got to move. That's the whole story.
That's the story.
Wow.
And, the kids don't know the shame she feels. Like, why can't you just go back to the school? They'd be like...
She's hiding her scarlet letter.
It's funny. I kept a theme, Mike, on these first two.
That was nuts, though. Like, nothing happened. Okay, great. The most exciting thing that happened is I got up and I looked at the button. That was it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great story. Funny. Good job. I'm just saying it's insane that that's a story.
So this one now we start.
One time I got in a car and I went across the city. I saw a dog. The end. I mean, that's same thing.
Yeah, essentially.
Right. Okay.
So our next one is aptly titled High School Affair because I wanted to keep the theme.
Watch out.
But we're going to go back in time 9 years previous. This is from Love Secrets number 35 from December of 1953.
1953.
Yeah, that was when the year and month my dad was born.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Did he have anything to do with this story?
No.
Oh, okay.
But it was published by Quality Comics and art by Sam Citron.
Yeah. Sam Citrano?
Citron.
Yeah. Oh.
No. I don't know why that was funny.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's funny to no one outside of this city. No one. Yeah.
Oh man. So it all starts with our main character here, whose name is Julia, I believe.
Okay.
And so Julia has a crush, we'll say, on their English teacher, Mr. Dryden.
Mr. Dryden.
Mm-hmm. But I do find it weird because, here we go. This is how it introduces the story. What schoolgirl hasn't had the emotional experience of having a crush on her handsome teacher?
Yeah.
It's common enough for most girls, but suddenly one day it's over and you realize it was just part of your growing up. But with me, it was different. For I was genuinely, truly in love with my attractive English teacher.
Oh, boy.
And because...
Another English teacher.
And because I pursued him, I almost ruined his life by involving him in a high school affair.
Whoa.
So it takes us back to when Mr. Dryden showed up to teach.
Okay.
And it's funny, on the first day of class, it says... It happened that exciting day. I began the final half of my senior year in high school. Okay. So second semester of high school. All of us were wondering who our English teacher would be. Then it shows a panel.
Why does it change?
That's what I'm saying. Because they go, I wonder who's taking old Miss Foley's place now that she's retired. Why did they let her retire?
She retired in the middle of the year.
Year?
She's like, screw this. I got to go.
She's like, I went out on Christmas break. I'm not coming back.
Maybe she broke a hip on the ice or something.
I don't know. But here's what I love is Julia, our main character, already knows our teacher's name. But not only does she know his name, I hear it's a man. His name is Elliot Horace Dryden. She knows his first, middle, and last name.
Horace.
And then he's a man, obviously.
Man.
If Elliot Horace Dryden didn't help you out.
Elliot Horace Dryden.
So
EHD.
They think, he's going to be so drab with a name like that.
Sure
boring,
he is,
right?
yeah.
So he shows
Elbow
up.
patches.
He shows up, nope, total hottie, right?
Uh-oh.
I know. Oh, how wrong we were.
Is this him?
For in walked the guy in the suit.
Yeah.
For in walked a tall, attractive man who couldn't have been more than 24 years old.
Oh, there you go.
That's what I was saying about
He
age.
looks like the guy in every one of these comic book ads. That's like
the Charles whatever.
Would you like to learn?
Dude?
Well, either that or learn to make a typewriter work or whatever. That kind of thing. Yeah, he looks like that guy.
He does look like that.
Yeah.
So
looks like a typewriter salesman.
She starts.
Those typewriter salesmen.
All those typewriter salesmen. She starts to daydream in class about Mr. Dryden and the guy she was hanging out with.
What is she daydreaming about?
It doesn't say. It just says, I wonder if he's married. Of course he must be.
Oh, okay.
Every girl would, she's just like thinking about that about
okay.
And so this guy she was hanging out with before named Chuck, who's this redheaded guy. who's kind of a butt through all the story and wears a sweater with a giant T on it. Don't know what that's for because his name's Chuck.
Yeah.
But
well, his name's really Theodore. They just call him Chuck.
Yeah. But he kind of bumps up in her class and he's like, "Hey, Julia, how about a spin in my jalopy this afternoon?"
Oh boy, jalopy.
"Will you meet me like always?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, sure, I guess, Chuck." Like she's kind of all just lost in Professor Dryden. Well,
freaking Chuck.
So
scumbag.
Our teacher, he's not a professor. So Mr. Dryden stays after class to talk to the girls.
Yeah.
And Julia stays and goes,
Just talk to the girls?
Well, like the girls had stayed after class to talk to them.
Oh, I see.
Sorry.
Okay.
And so they're all leaving.
All the guys can go. Girls stay, please. I need to talk to you.
And Mr. Dryden's like, "Oh, you're still here, Miss Gibson?" Julia's last name.
Miss Gibson.
And Julia says, "Oh, yeah, no, I just wanted to welcome you to our town, and I hope that you and your wife, will like living here." And
she's like, fishing.
She's fishing.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Wife, I'm not married, Miss Gibson, not even engaged."
Oh.
And she's like, "Oh, that's wonderful. I mean, excuse me." And she runs out.
Sure.
And she's like, "I made a fool of myself in front of him."
Boy, did you, Julia.
Right? She has nightmares about that,
You
about him
goober.
laughing at her, just saying, "Ha ha." Ha ha ha. It's just him laughing at her.
What a nightmare.
So he thinks that, or she thinks that he wants nothing to do with me. I'm acted like a little, girl.
Well, she did kind of. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but he never referenced the incident to her after that. Like she thought he would say something, never did.
Yeah,
but she thought that he kept like staring at her, kind of like if he was gauging her for something, right?
Gauging her.
Days passed, agonizing days for me. I couldn't damn the emotions welling up inside me.
I couldn't damn the emotions? Wow.
And so I unburdened my heart to my best friend. "Oh, Dottie, I've got it bad."
Dottie!
Sob. So she tells Dottie like she's got a crush on the teacher, and Dottie's like, yeah, everybody does. It'll pass. It's cool.
Sure.
You should go back out with Chuck. So she's like, yeah, okay. So she goes for a spin in that old jalopy, and they go out to some like make-out cliff area. It doesn't say that, but just based off the area. Yeah. And they go in for a kiss, and she just says, "It's just like a kiss, nothing more. A juvenile kiss that means nothing to me anymore."
Yeah.
Right? She does not care about Chuck nor his kisses anymore.
Oh, my God. Does Chuck get handsy?
No, Chuck doesn't.
Oh, well, good for Chuck.
Not with Chuck, or not with Chuck. Chuck doesn't get handsy.
Chuck doesn't get handsy with himself.
He might. It doesn't say.
I bet Chuck does get really handsy with himself.
So
God, he looks like a friggin' goober in this
does.
thing. Look at him.
So he's like, "Hey, what's wrong? You used to like my kisses." And she's like, "I'm sorry,
You
Chuck."
used to like my kisses.
She goes, "I'm sorry, Chuck. Things have changed. I don't think I ought to see you anymore. Please take me home." And so he's like, "Now I know I'm not just a school." Oh, she knows now that it's not just a crush that she has on the teacher. She really loves him.
Plus, Chuck, your breath always smells like mint schnapps.
So she's waiting on a bench when Mr. Dryden comes along, and he sits down, and they're talking, and the music plays behind them from like somehow there's
in a comic book.
It says, "We sat quietly after that, caught in the spell of the hauntingly lovely music drifting towards us on the softly sighing night breezes."
Okay.
So there's music playing nearby.
Wow.
Somehow I felt his eyes upon me. I looked up. His tender face was close to mine. Then suddenly he was kissing me.
Oh, no.
And I knew this was the kiss I'd been waiting for all my life.
No.
It sang into my soul like the far sweet music of the stars.
Wow.
So now the teacher is making out with his student. He pulls back and he's like, "I'm sorry."
Does this for real happen?
Yes.
Oh.
He's like, "I'm sorry. I shouldn't have.
No, you shouldn't have,
I just
dude.
couldn't have resisted kissing you." And she's like, "I wanted you to kiss me. It's okay." And he's like, "No, you don't get it. Like, we can't do this. It's wrong. I better go." And he like gets off and leaves. And
he gets off and leaves?
He gets up and leaves.
Okay.
That's just
okay. Sure. Gets off the bench.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes. And leaves.
Okay.
She's heartbroken, but
Oh, Mr. Dryden.
Chuck has followed her. And he's like, "So this is why you ran out on me. You had a date with Dryden."
Shit.
And she's like, Chuck, you followed me? You've been spying on me? And he goes, you bet I have. I saw your little love scene with Dryden. You got a heckin' nerve making a play on your own English teacher.
Is he still wearing the shirt with the T?
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
I don't know why.
He never takes it off.
It says after that, there were only embarrassed glances between Elliot. She calls him Elliot from this point, too. And me. Then one night at the school dance, it turns out he's a chaperone.
What was his middle name? Horace?
Horace.
Yeah. Okay.
Elliot Horace Dryden. Elliot Horace Dryden.
No offense to any Horaces out there. Sure.
But Elliot Horace Dryden, as a chaperone, walks up
and no offense to any horses either.
Julia and goes, may I have this dance, Miss Gibson? First of all, why are chaperones dancing with the high school girls?
No, that should never happen.
And she goes, well, of course, Miss Dryden. Well, why wouldn't she? She's in love with him. Of course she's going to say
yes. You're fired,
yes.
dude. Get out.
Well, so they're having a dance. And it goes, and then all of a sudden, he goes, I want to apologize for what happened the other night. She said, why apologize? Didn't you like kissing me? And he says, now see here, young lady, I'm older than you. And she says, older by 6 years. I'm 18, you're 24. Just a few years difference in ages doesn't mean anything when two people are in love.
Boy, she took it quick.
And this is the response that he replies with that gets me a little bit.
18-year-old girl dancing with this dude at a dance, kissed him on a bench, says she's in love with him. Right? He says,
that's a very persuasive argument. Keep on talking, darling. You've almost got me convinced.
What a jerk. Wow.
And then she goes, oh, Elliot. And then... get your hands off my girl. Chuck shows up.
Oh, dun dun dun.
And Chuck goes back to punch him, but Mr. Dryden punches Chuck in the face.
Oh my God, are you serious?
Yes. And then the principal runs out.
This guy's so fired.
And he goes, Mr. Dryden, you know it's against the rules for a teacher to strike his pupil.
It's explicitly right here on the wall, Mr. Dryden. It says, do not punch the kids. Yeah.
Unless you can explain your behavior, I'll have to ask you for your resignation.
Unless something happened.
I'll have to ask you for your resignation.
Really caused you to punch a kid.
And Dryden just goes, I have nothing to say. Right?
How classy.
So Julia says, Elliot, discharged under a dark cloud, it could ruin his teaching career.
It could.
It
should.
Yeah, she goes, I mustn't let that happen. So Julia says, please, sir, it's all my fault. I forced basically my attentions upon Mr. Dryden just to get Chuck jealous. That's all I did it. Like, he was just a pawn. Mr. Dryden was just trying to defend himself.
You still punched a kid.
Yep. So then the principal's like, okay, I see in that case, let's forget this whole thing.
No, dude, you can't do that.
Run along, young lady, and take your football hero with you. Right? He's just like, oh, girls being girls. Just go take that boy with you.
Get out of here. Take that boy with you. Get in his jalopy.
Hey guys, we don't have a potential pedophile teacher. It's good.
We don't have a potential pedophile abusive teacher. Yeah.
It's all good. He explained himself.
He's fine. Everybody go back to dancing.
Yeah. Nah.
This punch tastes fun.
Chuck and Julia, guys.
Chuck, he's a goofball.
So
great linebacker, though.
She goes, I could feel Elliot's eyes upon me, hurt as Chuck snickered and grabbed my arm possessively.
Oh, my God.
And he goes, come on, honey. Let's you and I go someplace where we can make some plans about our future. Right?
What the?
Then the next panel, Julia's crying. And he goes, now that we're alone, honey, hey, Julia, what? She goes, I'm sorry, Chuck. I don't love you. Please leave me alone.
Chuck is on this roller coaster, man.
He is. And she goes,
poor Chuck.
Yeah. She goes, I'd saved the man I loved from scandal, but the price was my self-respect. The realization I'd lost Elliot forever.
She's got to move across town.
That's what happened to Faye. Her and Faye could be best buds.
That's right, yeah.
She goes, I wept for my lost love, and then someone was before me, and it's Chuck. And she goes, Chuck, please, sob, please go away. I don't love you. It's no use,
God,
Chuck.
Poor Chuck.
And Chuck goes, I know.
I didn't like Chuck, but now I feel really bad for Chuck.
Well, Chuck just goes, I know, ... Like, She's like, I don't love you. And he's like, yeah.
She didn't just say, I don't love you. She said, go away, Chuck.
And he goes, but that's why I brought someone else with me.
Oh.
I made him realize what you'd done for him. And
he
so
brought the effing teacher
he brought the effing teacher to Julia's house. And she goes, Elliot, yes, Julia, I should have realized before that your confession to the faculty head was only to save me from being discharged. Oh, you silly teacher.
Well, no shit, idiot. We were all there.
And then he goes, if you don't mind marrying an old man of 24 when you graduate school,
well, you got to graduate first.
I'll be waiting.
Yeah.
And she goes, oh, Elliot, darling. And then
is Chuck watching this whole thing?
So Chuck actually closes out the story. So it's a background of the two of them kissing. Yeah. And Chuck's in front of us, kind of like a narrator in a way to close it out, you know. Sure. And he goes, what do you know? Looks like you'll be getting 2 official documents soon. A graduation diploma and a weddings license.
Oh my God, that's gross. That's so gross. See. Yeah, old Chuck is like, screw it. Okay. Well, that's great.
The end of that one. So I think this is a perfect spot for us. You know what? This is also a perfect spot for us to take a break and maybe give Chuck some time to say a few words.
Think about his actions.
Well, maybe, go play matchmaker for other people. We'll be right back.
RogueCon 23 is a creator convention that's coming to Waco, Texas. Zach, what would you think if I told you we signed a big YouTuber to come to town?
Ooh, I'd be excited about that.
Yeah, we did. Like hundreds of thousands of followers kind of thing. Yeah. Nice. We got to put them up in a hotel and the whole thing.
Ooh,
it's a big deal.
It is.
So we're going to do it for 3 days. January 20th, 21st, and 22nd here in Waco, 6 different locations. YouTubers, TikTokers, I guess that's what you call them, TikTokers. Instagramians.
I'm old.
I'm older.
I mean, no offense.
Yeah, but we're gonna have live podcast
shows.
Influencers. You and I are gonna do a show.
Yeah, live. You should come see us.
You should come see us. There's gonna be live podcasts. There's gonna be live music. There's gonna be a guy holding snakes. There's going to be maybe some wrestling. There's going to be TikTokers, YouTubers, Instagramians, all kinds of fun for the whole family.
That sounds like a blast.
Yeah, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 2023. If you need, well, not if, go get your tickets at RogueCon23.com.
Yeah. Welcome back. Unfortunately, we didn't hear anything from Chuck during the break. So
because he's dead. That was 1952 or whatever.
53.
Okay.
But let's go ahead
1 year to go.
And get into just a couple more stories.
Yeah.
Great romance stories we have here to close out this week's
Love
episode.
is in the air.
So did you like the first 2 so far?
I loved them. Yeah, I thought they were great. I thought we learned some valuable lessons.
Yes.
We
did.
You can screw a teacher and get away with it as long as you punch a child. And then if you really screw up, move across town.
That's right.
Those are the lessons I learned.
Pray that nobody realizes the shame you feel.
Right, sure.
So we're going to move.
She had to dump all of the people in her life and move across town.
I wonder if she changed her name.
That's what I'm saying, right?
She's like, no, my name is now.
It was Faye, right?
Yeah.
She just put a little umlaut over.
So it's foul.
Foul.
Oh, man. So we're going to move away from school. We're not going back to school anymore, but we're going to deal with.
We graduated.
We did, but the name of this one, A Monster's Kiss.
Oh, no.
So, for one frightening moment,
that's what my wife says.
I think I'm having a nightmare.
Oh.
This leering ogre can't be my darling Derek. I've never seen Derek disheveled or even slightly mused. Never seen Derek Clark without a shave.
Derek Clark.
Never seen Derek, my beloved, with this stupid, vapid expression, with bloodshot, shadowed eyes. This can't be the man I married.
I will tell you this: all of these women in these The guy's in his pajamas, and he's just
and he has stubble.
Terrible.
That's it. All that.
That's really all it is.
Because he woke up and did not shave.
But these women in these stories, they are very well spoken in their head.
Oh yes,
in their head.
Yes, very well spoken.
Now, when they speak to others,
not so much.
It comes out as gobbledygook.
Yes,
but when they think, oh,
fantastic,
perfect, yeah, great stuff.
So essentially, yeah, he wakes up and she goes, you're horrid, whatever or whoever you are, go away. And he's like, do you know, Miss Clark? You talk in your sleep, is what he tells her.
He's like, I just got up. What do you do? Yeah. What do you want?
So he goes in for a kiss, and she says that she would sooner kiss a rabbit ape. She doesn't want to kiss him. She pushes him off.
That's a big leap.
She goes into the bathroom. She slams the door. She goes, I'm never to unlock this door. And he's like, Cleo, darling, let me in.
Cleo.
She's so upset, right? And distraught about this. And she goes, I never dreamed it would turn out this way. What a mess. Was it only yesterday I walked up the aisle? I trembled with joy as I waited for his kiss. I was Miss Derek Clark, his wife.
You still are.
And I gloried in that knowledge. You're the most beautiful bride in the world, Miss Clark. And she says, I hope you'll always think so, darling. If I'm not the most beautiful, I am the luckiest. Then we flash back to our current situation.
How long do you think it's been since the wedding?
I know, this is honestly the day before.
Because they're very... Oh, really?
Yeah, this is the day after.
Oh, my God. Come on.
Yep. And so it flashes back to our current day, and there's a pound on the door, and he goes, hurry up, sweetie. It's almost 11, and I already ordered a big breakfast on the table, like on the terrace. And she goes, he doesn't have to yell. There's nothing wrong with my ears.
Oh, my God. What is wrong with this girl?
And just because of all this, this is the voice I feel like she has, and we'll see here. So she goes, his manners were always perfect before we were married. But since we've arrived here, and it kind of goes through their stories. Yeah. Essentially, he didn't open the door out of the taxi for her once they got to the airport. God. At the terminal, he asked her to carry a bag.
What a rabid ape.
It says, can you carry the little one, beloved? We'll be here for an hour if we wait for a porter. Right?
A porter.
Like, he must think he married a pack mule, is what her response is.
Wow.
Then he goes, he showed absolutely no consideration at all. And it shows them going to the taxi. And he's like, come on, slowpoke. And she goes, he should have married a racehorse. Then it shows them in the back of the taxi.
That's illegal.
And it is. And he's wrapped his arm around her. Yeah. And he goes, we've got a suite reserved, cute stuff. I'll be glad when we can get somewhere and take off our shoes and relax. And she goes, keep your shoes on, Tarzan. And stop.
Tarzan.
She goes, and stop pawing me. We're in a public vehicle.
Wow, this is one entitled lady.
Right.
Yeah.
But yet it's all him, though.
But she's so lucky.
Well, no.
But now she's not.
No, now she's not.
Like 10 minutes later, she's not lucky.
She's like, by the time I finish my shower, put on my face and don my choicest daytime dress, I've decided this is normal for brides on the first day of their honeymoon. So I joined him, intending to forgive him. And it shows, Derek, you beast, why aren't you shaved and dressed? Because he's wearing just like a long sleeve turtleneck and he still hasn't shaved.
Yeah, sure.
Just wait for the payoff for this, Mike.
Okay.
And he goes, I'll shave tonight, sweetie. Sit down. I'm starved. And she's like, I will not. I refuse to talk to you while you look that way.
What?
Right?
How long is it? Again, how much stubble?
It looks 5 o'clock shadow.
This guy,
And she goes, you're impossible. And he goes, impossibly hungry.
Wow.
Doll, hurry back or your eggs will get cold. He's just like, I don't know what's up with you.
Her eggs have been cold for a while.
She goes, if he comes after me, I won't speak to him. And then she's like, the beast, I won't forgive him very quickly. He's afraid to talk to me. That's it. And then she's waiting for him to go. He's not.
I would be afraid to talk to you too.
And then she goes, oh, the beast, he doesn't even care if I get hysterical. And it shows him still out on the terrace, drinking coffee. And he goes, Cleo, when you've got a moment, we'll discuss our plans for the day. And she goes back out there and she tells him, I won't go anywhere with you until you shave. And that's final.
You should have an itinerary.
And he's like, Cleo, if you listen, you'll avoid a lot of heartache. And she goes, my wishes don't mean anything to you. Now that we're married, is that it? And he's like, don't be silly, Cleo. That's not it at all. And she goes, silly, is that what you think of me, Derek Clark?
Yeah.
And he's like, relax, Miss Clark. I think I'll go fishing or something. I'll see you later. Maybe he's like, I'm going to defuse the situation.
Second day of marriage, I'm going fishing.
No. she goes, this can't be happening to me. Derek loves me and I love him.
And I hate
with
fish.
or without a shave. Like, so he stormed off and she's like, I love him even if he doesn't shave. Well, then why was it a big deal?
What is the deal with this woman?
This is a whole. So then she goes out to see him fishing. And she goes, Derek hadn't gone far.
So after all of this, she follows him out there.
Yeah. Derek hadn't gone far to the island canal where he seemed to be enjoying himself catching a fish when I finally found him.
The island canal.
And she goes, he doesn't see me. He doesn't care about me.
He doesn't think you're there.
So then she sees him. She goes, I won't let him see me watching him. That'll teach him a lesson. And then she turns around and sees that he's not in the boat anymore. And she goes, oh no, he must have fallen in. And she dives in looking for him. And when she comes up, he's sitting in the boat. And she's like, oh no, what happened? And he like helps her in. She goes, I'm sorry. Or he goes, I'm sorry. When I was working on catching that fish, it knocked my oar over and I had to dive in to get it. You know, I guess you saw me when
what?
Yeah, that's their explanation. Either way, I was diving in to get this oar. This is why you didn't see me.
Who gets jealous of a guy who falls out of a boat?
I don't know. So he helps her up into the boat and they're both driving and she's like, I'm sorry we quarreled earlier, Derek. I do love you. And he goes, I'm insane about you, sweetie. What?
Think about this for a second.
Yeah.
You're in a boat in a lake. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, an island canal.
Island canal.
And you're fishing.
Yeah.
And your wife that you married the day before just pops up out of the water.
Yeah.
What the?
Well, you just dove into the water yourself, so you're wet.
Right.
And she pops up out of the water too.
It does not matter. You are by yourself. You've gone away. And your wife just, bloop, here she is.
Well, here's the thing. She plops up first, and she goes, darling, oh, darling, you're alive. And he goes, of course I'm. Oh, you thought I'd fallen in, didn't you? Like, he was like, of course I. And then it dawns on him, oh, you're watching me.
He didn't say, why the hell are you here?
Nope.
Why are you in the water?
But then they go in to kiss.
What the hell?
Because they're making up.
The stupidest thing.
No, just wait.
This is
just
terrible.
wait. I'm about to take it to another level.
All right, please
just
do.
Wait.
Please do.
So she kisses him, obviously, to make up for their quarrel. And she goes,
you taste like fish.
Derek, stop it. I can't stand it. And he goes, but you said I thought. And she goes, I know I did, Derek, and I still love you. But your beard is like sandpaper. You're ruining me.
What?
You're ruining me. And he goes, oh, I see. Well, we won't do that again, will we?
Kiss?
I guess. That's all it says. And then it brings us, they go back to take all his fishing equipment back, right?
Is this story brought to you by Gillette?
Hold on.
Is it?
No, it's not. It's not. After changing into dry things, Derek took me to a very nice restaurant for lunch, but he still looked like a raunchy caveman.
Raunchy.
Yes, I'm still angry, Derek. Don't you know how you look to others? Like, she is very upset about this beard still.
The dude just grew some hair.
He's like, I know what I look like. I'm not worried about what others think. The only person who concerns me is you. Like, that's what he tells her. And she's like, if you were concerned, you'd at least shave.
Yeah, you ape.
Right? And he's like, she goes, oh, he, making a joke, says, this is the worst day we've had in our married lives because it's the first day of our married
good
lives.
Stuff. Ha ha,
and
ha
she
ha,
goes,
ha ha.
he thinks he's funny. And he goes, cheer up. Things could be worse by tomorrow.
Sure.
They probably will be.
They will be, yeah. This lady will make sure they are.
And she says, I wish he'd stop being funny. I almost laughed just now. Right?
What?
Yep, that's what.
I hate laughing.
Well, later we're going for a very expensive restaurant for dinner, but I feel more like going to bed for a good cry.
Then go to bed.
And she's like fixing her dress and she goes, today has been absolutely horrible.
I was really hoping you'd say horrid.
Yeah, well then.
There's something about people who say horrid.
It was absolutely horrid. There's
see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Then she's outside crying against a palm tree and she goes, I was in love with him yesterday. How can love die so quickly? And then you hear Miss Clark and we see Derek clean shaven. And he goes, I believe we've got a date tonight, beautiful lady. That is, if you can stand being with my company. And she goes, oh, darling, you finally shaved. And he goes, or she goes, you're so smooth, darling. And he goes, enjoy it. They say darling a lot.
Yeah.
Enjoy it, darling. I had my reason why I couldn't shave this morning. Are you ready for why?
Yeah. Why?
So they kiss, right? Because they can kiss now. He doesn't have this beard.
Finally.
Derek says, in the past few weeks, I'd been shaving twice, sometimes 3 times a day, and I had to go to a skin specialist. He ordered me to stop shaving that frequently. In fact, he said I'd be healthier if I'd grow a beard.
Come on.
And she says, darling, I'll love you if you have whiskers down to your knees. I'm sorry I've been such a ninny all day. No, she won't.
No,
Don't
she
lie
will
to
not.
him.
The minute you grow any hair on your face, she's going to turn into a horrid person again.
And then she says, first quarrel. This is how it ends. First quarrel, my fault, mostly.
My bad.
And
Sorry.
next time, I'll wait till I know all the facts before I blow my cool.
What a weird story. That is like the weirdest thing we've ever. I mean, we've had guys who made out with their mom who then bore them.
Yeah.
But this is the weirdest thing. Like it's the fact that I have a little bit of stubble. It's like she's face blind or something, right? Yeah.
You're ruining me.
You ruined me. You grew a hair.
But then he's like, hey, my skin doctor said I'm shaving too much.
My
I need
skin doctor.
A skin specialist. He says I need to not shave as much.
I was shaving 3 times a day.
And says, who shaves 3 times a day?
Nobody. If you do, you have an issue.
Yeah, you're like taking skin
That's
off
what
at
I'm
that
saying.
point.
Yeah.
So he's like, I would be healthier if I grow a beard. And she's immediately like, oh, yeah, I'll take it, whiskers down to your knees. But you're lying.
No, she's absolutely lying. And the fact that they didn't have Gillette or somebody sponsor this thing, that's a real missed opportunity in my eyes. This lady.
So I thought that was just
shaved.
too good
Our
of
marriage
one.
is better.
Yeah, but yet she's cool with a beard.
I want to show her the hair that I grow in my ears. Let's talk about that.
She would. What monster have I married?
Yeah, he has hairy ears.
So we're gonna get to our
Do you have
last
the ear
story.
hair? You have the problem with the ear hair?
Mike, I'm 33. No, I'm not. Dude, I forgot how old I was. I'm 34. Actually, about to be 35.
Wow,
so yeah.
Yeah. It happens, right?
I know, and I have to take care. But I never thought that I'd be in my 30s, being like, oh, got to trim up.
There's 2
Why
things.
is that a thing?
2 things that happen.
Nose
right?
hair, ear hair?
No, no. That's just an assumption. I mean, that's just a thing that happens, right?
Yeah.
You get that, but then I have to phrase this delicately. The cold water whenever you have a seat.
Yes.
On the toilet.
Yeah.
That thing.
Yeah.
I mean, like.
Yeah. No, I'm following.
The tea bagging of your toilet. It becomes more and more frequent. Just letting you know that's in your future. Plop. Whoops. Yeah, that's a thing. It's rough.
Oh, man.
That is the worst feeling, too. Because you're like, oh, God.
No, it's not, Mike.
Well,
the worst feeling is kissing somebody who hasn't shaved.
That's true. I guess.
And just as surprising, too.
What if you... Yeah, okay. I'm good. I'll stop. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Fine.
It's going to get pretty bad.
So.
Oh, boy.
Our last one is, I was a child bride.
Yeah.
And the first
Brought
picture we
by
get
the Church of Jesus Christ
is a husband with his young wife over his lap, like he is about to spank her.
He's spanking her, yeah. This guy looks like a rockabilly icon, too. Look at him. Look at his hair. That is some big hair.
He does. Well, this is from True Brides Experiences number 16 from February of 1956.
So we're supposed to believe that these are true stories.
The art is by Al Avison, and the publisher is Home Comics.
Home Comics.
Home Comics.
Oh,
not
boy.
to be confused with Work Comics.
Or House Comics.
House Comics or Shop Comics.
Doctor's
or Place
Office
Comics. Yeah.
Sure.
Car Comics.
Car Comics.
Yeah.
Those are tough. It's tough to draw when you're driving.
It is tough, too.
Thank you, Elon.
So.
For freeing up my hands.
It starts off, when my husband humiliated me in front of my parents after they had been so good to us, only my pride was hurt. but my heart was pierced with anguish when he hurled bitter accusations at me,
and
all because I was a child bride.
Wow.
So,
yikes!
What we get here is
a child. That is such a. That word is terrible in that phrase.
It is. And here's the thing: is they never tell you how old she is.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming she's obviously at least 18.
The moment I turned 12.
It's so weird, child bride. I hate that. But so we're introduced to our main character, who is named. I don't even know if they give her a name.
Oh, see, that's the first problem.
She's unnamed.
Yeah,
I think she's always called like dear or baby.
That's a great point you're making, Zach. You know, give your kids names, and they won't turn into child brides.
That's true.
Yep.
Obviously, the thing here, she didn't have a name.
That's right. That's what did it.
But we meet our main character, and she's leaving like the movies with her friend, and she comes home, and her mom is there at home, and her mom says, "You're late, baby. I dropped in. I dropped in to say hello and thought I'd start dinner for you because it isn't right to make Frank wait, but I can't find any meat." And she says, I didn't have time to...
I can't find any meat.
She goes, I didn't have time to market after the movies with the girls, Mom, but I'll open a can of something.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
So...
Poor Frank.
His mom tells
He's
her,
got no meat.
You're not being fair to your husband, Lucy. Lucy's her name.
There it is.
You're not being fair to your husband, Lucy. He deserves a home-cooked meal after working hard all day. And your father tells me he is working hard. Frank's a fine boy, and you should. And she goes, Mother, I can manage my own affairs, thank you. After all, we've been married almost 3 months, so I think I know how to handle my husband.
I've seen him unshaven.
But to set this up, so Lucy and her husband is named Frank.
Uh-huh.
Her husband, Frank, works for her father.
Okay.
Okay. At her father's factory. It is the shop or whatever.
The shop.
He's been working really hard. It says something. It mentions it later.
Yeah.
Whatever his father's business
Whatever
is.
he does, they can't afford meat.
Yeah. Well, no, they can't afford meat. She was just too busy going to the movies with her gal pals to pick up anything.
Oh, yeah.
So
she couldn't market.
So she's just going to open up a can of something for him.
You ever heard anybody say that?
Hopefully not whoop ass.
Sorry, I couldn't market.
No.
What?
Well, just here. Yeah.
Whoop ass.
Well,
it did not go unnoticed.
Thank you. No, because she goes, I'll open up a can of something.
Yeah. Whoop ass.
Yeah. Thank you. Stone Cold liked it. So... her mom apologizes and says, don't be angry, baby. After all, you're only she's only 17.
She is a child bride.
She is a child bride. You're only 17.
She's a teen bride.
And mother's advice can be helpful, you know. You've always welcomed it. Okay.
She's 17 and she's been married for 3 months.
Yeah. So he gets home.
That means they had to sign off on it probably, right?
Yep.
Unless you're in Mississippi.
Or where, I mean, certain states, I think it's 16.
Sure.
I don't know how
Yeah.
I think here in Texas it's 18 though, right? Or is it 16?
I think it's 18 here. I'm almost positive.
So,
I know all of my wives were over 18.
Okay, well that's good. You didn't have to have a compound so you could marry them all. So
I cut the first one open to count the rings, and she was 18. That was good.
Solid tree joke there.
Yeah,
solid tree joke.
Yeah, just wait. I got an ichthyology joke coming up later.
I can't wait for that. But so Lucy's mom leaves. I think at some point this show is just for us.
That's true.
Lucy's mom leaves, and she says, Mom scolded me because I didn't have time to cook you a 7-course dinner. But you don't mind, do you, darling?
Just meat. That's all she's looking for is just meat.
And Frank says, as a matter of fact, yes, your mother is right, Lucy. This is the 3rd time this week you've come home too late to prepare a decent meal.
Frank, you son of a bitch.
And she goes, you're both against me? The way you talk, I sound like a child playing house, and all on account of a silly can of tuna fish.
Well.
And she throws it in the sink and she runs off. And Frank goes, it's not just the tuna fish. It's Lucy, darling. Please don't cry. And he chases after her, right?
It's not just the tuna fish.
And he chases after her and he's like, hey, I'm sorry. I just wanted to, get home and see you. It's just been, busy, stuff like that.
Been busy at the shop.
Yeah. And he says, seeing you is what keeps me plugging when your father drives me so hard. By the way, honey, he thinks I might get the new job next month. And she goes, why didn't you tell me that? That the minute you came in, When you're the assistant manager, I know you'll make Dad proud of you. And he replies and kind of pushes her off. And she's like, what's the matter? You look angry. And he goes, is that all my promotion means to you? Something to make your father proud of us kind of thing?
He's kind of got a point.
Yeah.
Sure.
So they're apparently cold. They're not getting along too well.
Yeah.
And they have to go on Sunday to a dinner at her parents' house. And Lucy tells him, Frank, it's bad enough that you're not, talking to me. At least, be nicer to my folks today. Mom roasted a turkey just for you. And Frank goes, for heaven's sakes, can I just be myself one day a week? After slaving at the store the other 6 days, no matter what I do down there, I can't satisfy your father.
Dude's working 6 days a week for her father. And she's like, hey, on Sunday, we're going over there.
And he's like, I can't satisfy him.
That was my second marriage.
Was it?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Well,
yeah.
You couldn't satisfy your father-in-law?
I could not, no.
So she says, this can't go on, Frank. We're drifting further and further apart. Can't we be honest with each other and discuss things? And Frank's like, okay, Lucy, we'll talk about it later after dinner, right? He says, I'm tired of having to think first and last of your parents. You're grown up now and you're married to me. It's time you realize that.
Well,
I mean,
the guy's got an argument.
And then he's like, we'll talk about this later then, once they get there. So, they're sitting there at the dinner table.
Now come here for your spanking.
And Lucy and her mother kind of leave. She goes, I need help in the kitchen. And while they're sitting at the table, Lucy's dad said, I'm glad you're here today, Frank. I've wanted to talk to you about the store. You're disappointing me, son, the way you're no longer trying.
Wow.
Right?
Where are his parents?
I don't know.
Yeah.
So Lucy's talking to her mom and she says, Mom, I'm so mixed up. Something's happening to Frank and us, and I don't know what it is. And her mom's just like, all young brides go through that. It's okay, dear.
Yeah.
And she goes, but my mother's words didn't soothe me, really.
Wash the turkey pan.
It shows them talk later. And she goes, let's get it over, Frank. Where shall we begin? And he goes, Lucy, my dearest, there's no beginning. There isn't going to be an end because the only thing that matters to me in this world is you. The cold stone wall between us, it's had me crazy. I couldn't think straight. Couldn't keep my mind on my work. It's all my fault.
Yeah.
And she says, oh, Frank, my darling, hold me close. I've missed you. So they kind of embrace for a second.
Sure.
And she goes, these past few weeks were a nightmare, dearest, but they're over. And now I know you'll try hard again at the store.
A nightmare.
And she goes, I know you'll try hard again at the store now. And he's like, Lucy. And he kind of pushes her off of him. And he's like, I should try harder so your father won't be disappointed.
Yeah.
Like, can't you ever forget about your parents? You're not my wife. You're still their little girl. Like, even in my arms, you scheme to, and then you hear, Lucy, are you home? Her parents have shown up.
Jesus.
Right?
Can't shake them.
And she goes, it's Mom and Dad. They're downstairs. Please, please, Frank, don't let them know. And he goes, I will let them know everything. And he picks her up, like, by his arm, and he's grabbing her down. And it says, I lived a lifetime of agony in the few seconds it took my parents to walk up the short flight of stairs. In a trance, I felt Frank's strong arms scoop me up and carry me across the room. She says, put me down, you brute, put me down. And they hear, that's Lucy's voice. I had a feeling something was wrong. We're here, baby. They're like to kind of protect her there.
Wait, tell me one more time why he picked her up.
We don't, because she said, now that we're over whatever this thing is, you can try harder at the store. And he's like, that's it. I had enough of that kind of.
Okay. I didn't make the connection. I didn't really understand that.
So, while he's picking her up, he takes her over to the door where her parents are, and her dad says, oh, look at my little girl. And her mom says, Lucy, baby, are you hurt? And Frank says, here's your baby. She's perfectly okay. Just needs some sense knocked into her.
Oh.
And then he says, Frank looks at her dad and goes, who's going to spank her, you or I? And her dad goes, leave my child alone, you monster.
Well.
And he puts her over his knee, and he raises his hand back like he's about to spank her. And she goes, Dad, Mom, help. And he goes, this is one time Mom and Dad can't help you.
And then they shoot him.
Oh, man. Then it says, like a trapped animal, I kicked and clawed to escape that humiliating hand raised over me. I was choked with loathing for my husband as I lay trembling across his knees. And then I looked up into his eyes. What? Are you crying? You love me. It's written all over your face. You're doing this crazy thing because you love me.
What,
and Frank says with tears in his eyes, yes, and that's why I can't go through with it. I'd cut off my arm before I'd give you a second's pain, Lucy. Oh, my dearest, can you ever forgive me?
He gets up quickly. She falls on the floor.
Well, and he stands up and he dips her down and she's hanging, holding on to his neck. And she goes, I'm the one who begs your forgiveness. I've been a fool, a child who's needed to grow up. And her dad says, Lucy, my dear. And her mom says, no, dear, don't interfere. We've been wrong. To continuing to treat her like a little girl. It's time we left her alone with her husband. And then as they leave, her husband says, Lucy's dad says, you're right, Sarah. And my worries about Frank at the store are over now, too.
Wait.
Our little girl, his wife, is all the incentive he needs. And then she says, there's so much I want to say, darling, but you said it all once. The only thing in the world that matters to me is you.
Wow. Okay, so let's talk about the lesson we learned from this.
Okay.
You can get married at 17.
Yep.
But if you do, you're going to go through a 3-month dry spell.
Yep.
Where you get mad at your husband because he doesn't work enough, I guess.
Well, no. You're mad at... Are you talking about this story here?
Yeah.
So the way I took it is essentially your husband's upset because everything you do involves mom and dad. Well, and I kind of get that.
Yeah, sure.
And it's like, even he works for your dad 6 days a week.
Yeah, 6 days a week.
6 days a week. And your dad is on him about everything. Like, hey, I don't like the way you work. Like, he's just getting, hounded all the time by your dad. And you're like, hey, maybe you can start trying harder. Maybe you can do this. Like, I get why he got upset in a way. Like, obviously, wrong way to handle it.
No, I felt like akin to Frank until he picked her up and carried her across the room.
You never did that?
No. I can say I never did that. Well, and there is one panel here where she says, it's mom and dad. They're downstairs. Please, Frank, don't let them know. And he goes, I will let them know. And then he picks her up.
Yeah.
So I don't know if his intention was, I'm just going to throw her at you.
Maybe. Well, no, yeah, like, who's going to, spank you or spank her, you or me? Like, it's a weird thing to also
that is so weird.
Ask.
He's also wearing a bow tie the whole time.
Frank's kind of a weirdo.
Frank's got big hair.
Frank does have big hair.
Well, that was enlightening.
That was some romance comics.
Yeah.
I thought that was a good, fun selection to close out the year.
Yeah. Yeah, I love a good spanking to close out the year. That's great.
One to grow on there, Mike.
One to grow on. Boy, do you remember that?
Yeah,
Yikes.
I do. As always, you can find us on social media, Instagram, BroFoHero, Twitter, at Bros, Foes, and Heroes, or at brosfoesandheroes@gmail.com. Also, you can find the many other great podcasts in our family of podcasts at roguemedianetwork.com.
Yeah. I wonder, do you have one in mind whenever you say that? Does one come to mind? Or
I do. Well, no, when I think about it, I have certain podcasts I think about each time when I do it.
Okay.
Do you want me to shout them out when I think about it?
No, not at all. I was just asking. I was just asking if one came to mind.
Yeah. I mean, I have a couple.
Okay.
Sometimes when I do it, I'll have, and, because you're on it, and also previous guests of the show, Rusty.
Sure.
You guys do blah.
When I ran out.
Yeah. So I think about that.
Yeah.
Oh, that was such a good comic, though.
It was good, yeah.
So I think about that. And then, sometimes I get here and I run into the Bloody Happy Hour
that's true.
Girls, I'm sorry, women.
Ladies.
I've
never threatened to spank them either, by the way.
That would be weird.
Yeah, that would be weird,
I see Allison a lot from Poltergeist.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there's tons of different.
Okay. All right. I'm just asking. It wasn't really a test. I was just wondering if you have certain ones
it's been a while since I've seen him, but Pete Sousa.
Yeah,
Pete. I see Pete every now and then. He comes across my podcast. I listen to Pete.
Yeah.
So yeah,
good old Pete.
We got a lot of great stuff. The Long Box, another. I can just keep. What do you want me to do, Mike?
You're doing a great job here.
Selling stuff on this.
You did a great job, and none of them are even on the wall or anything. You're not like having. No. This is a total pull from your brain.
No, like I'm happy. I'm happy and proud to be a part of the Rogue Media family. I felt like I got very politician-y there.
Yeah,
it's like almost George Bush. Like I am very.
I love how you just have like the part of the thumb.
That's the Clinton thing.
He started that, right?
I think so.
Okay.
Or at least that's what I always see it with is when people do it.
That is, I guess it's non-threatening, but it makes a point, right? And what we're talking about is like you make the fist and you just have the thumb barely sticking up. It's like, well, I know why Bob Dole did it. Because his arms were dead.
Yeah.
Right? Uh-huh. They just remember when they used to stick a pen in his hand and he would just be like, oh, I got a pen. I'm Bob Dole.
I remember the first election I ever got to vote in. Not the actual first election when I turned 18, but the first one I remember voting in was the 96 presidential election race when I was in fourth grade. I'm sorry. 96.
I got to vote when I was in fourth grade.
Was I in fourth grade? No, I was in...
Wait, you voted on it in school? Is that what it was?
Maybe third grade, but yeah, they had the election, and we got to vote on it.
It's almost like Valentine's Day or whatever.
I'm sure I voted for whoever my parents probably talked about, but still.
Sure.
I didn't know anything.
96. Who would that be?
I never do that now. I can tell you who it was. It was between three candidates. It was Dole, Clinton, and Perot.
Oh.
Ross Perot actually got votes on our fourth grade class. I do remember
Sure
that.
He did. He was a big deal for a while.
Well, all I remember is big ears.
Do you remember Dana Carvey's Ross Perot?
Yeah. I have seen that. I thought you were going to say, do you remember Dennis Kucinich? And I was like, yeah, I guess I do.
You remember Dennis Kucinich? What a ham.
I remember.
All right. That's it. We got to get out of here. We got wives waiting for us.
That does it for us as always. And as always for you guys, we appreciate you taking the time out to listen. And until next time, stay safe, everybody.
I'm going to go home and rub my stubble all over my wife's face.
I married a monster.
Got it, God.
Pros and heroes. Gonna tell you about pros and heroes. Gonna tell you about.
This has been a Rogue Media Network